Ready to power up your business results? In this week's episode, we discuss the new way of getting the right people into your team with John and Fiona Harland from ERG Recruitment. We discuss the business benefits of landscaping your outdoor area with master landscaper Darrell Smith from Landsmiths. And we look at how being open to opportunity has been the key to success for Jean and Lou Redknapp from Insiedout Cleaning. It's all here on the Engine Business Show.
Kia ora and welcome to the Engine Business Show. I'm Monique Bradley and I'm excited to help you amp up your business success with the Engine. Now, if you're not familiar with the Engine is one of New Zealand's leading business advisory organisations based here in Auckland. And to get the show started, we have a little tip of wisdom from the founder and lead advisor of the Engine, Catherine Cooke. Catherine, what have you got for us today?
Well, let me start with people. I have a lot of business owners and the biggest pain point for them is people. But a lot of the time, they're actually doing it the wrong way around. And what I mean by that is they're actually hiring people that are putting the wrong people in the wrong seats. So rather than just Monique left, let's replace Monique, let's look at Monique's role, let's look at what the business really needs. It doesn't necessarily need another Monique, it might need somebody that has got specialist technique in a different area. But make sure you're not just putting bums on seats. Make sure you're hiring not just for the competency and the skill set, but also for the culture of the organisation. It's really hard for businesses right now, especially when there's a shortage of really good talent out there. But what I'm saying is don't sell yourself short by getting the wrong person on board. Make sure you put the time and effort into recruiting the right people.
Building both an ethical and successful business in New Zealand can come with the highest of highs and the greatest of challenges. So here to talk us about how to navigate those challenges, I have John and Fiona here from ERG Recruitment. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Great to have you both here. Now, first of all, I hear you're doing things a little bit differently. So tell me about ERG Recruitment.
Look, we've been a business that evolved from previous businesses, and we took them over when we changed owners. We've now had the company for about 11 years. Is
12
that right?
years.
12 years.
Yeah.
And it's been an exciting time. It's growth. It's challenging, as you say, but a lot of fun. We've been in the industry now for over 20 years, not prior to...
Wow, so you're not just newbies on the block.
No,
we would now be probably considered the dinosaurs in the industry. But holding it firm.
How did you come into the industry?
I was on newspaper advertising, and I guess when you look at media, newspaper advertising, it's all about relationship building. It's all about talking to people. It's all about understanding needs. And I saw a role advertised, which was interestingly with manpower. And of course, the minute you say manpower, everybody's like, okay,
dancers.
Wow, all right. So I applied to manpower. So that is over 20 years ago now in Christchurch. Wow. And historically, we opened the branch from the ground floor up, and most of the builders loved the fact that we were called Manpower because it gave them an opportunity to go, yeah, we're working for Manpower. But look, it was all about, I think, supporting our community and helping people and understanding the needs and the problem solving that goes with recruitment. Yes. Yes, that's what drew me into it all those years ago.
Okay.
We're primarily an industrial business, although we do some commercial and retail, in fact, and we have some very long-term clients in those spheres. Some exciting clients. We've been involved with the Rugby World Cup in 2011, for instance, with Adidas. So some really fun times over the years. But primarily it's an industrial business, so we work in warehousing, transport, drivers, pickpackers, that type of thing. And we're based in South Auckland, so we work with the South Auckland population.
Yeah, got it.
And, you know, the exciting thing about our industry is it's in the cliche with internally that we change people's lives. But I think it's an important cliche in many ways because we genuinely do change people's lives in our industry, and that's what excites us most about it.
See, and that's quite different because I've spoken with many recruiters over the years, and some have told me it's just a numbers game. But when you tell me you're actually changing people's lives, Tell me about how you are making that difference, because that
It'd be fair to say that it is a numbers game, but I think for every number that you have in front of you, you've actually got to dig a little deeper. So I guess the philosophy that we've always had is that whatever resume comes across your desk, whatever phone call you receive, whatever person who walks through the door, you actually need to take the time to dig a little deeper into who they are and what they're looking for. You're not going to be able to help everybody, so that's where the numbers game comes in. But if you can send them away with a sense of fulfillment from the conversation that you've had with them, raise their self-esteem, give them some direction. It only takes 5 minutes to give a little bit of advice, or send them in a direction that would be more appropriate for the work that they're looking for. Even in our industry as colleagues, we all do point people in other directions to other agencies if we think that that's going to better equip them with the role that they're looking for.
Wow.
It is about taking the time. It is very much about taking the time.
So with that, obviously, there is an exchange. You're working with your clientele you're bringing in to put them into job placement.
Yeah.
And this is a business show. How
Yes.
does that turn into a profitable business? Because especially when, and I know people will be asking, especially when you're telling me previously as well, this is a job which is based largely on ethics as well, John.
Yes, well, look, I would like to change the narrative a little bit about our industry,
Good.
because a lot of this is about, it has a stigma to it. There's a lot of stuff in the media about it being precarious employment. We're exploiting disadvantaged groups. The reality is quite different. There is amount of numbers involved, as we say, but for every person that comes through the door, we're looking for the right opportunity to them. And sometimes that means some hard conversations. And I suspect that is why people get the wrong impression at times. Because you
Good to have that
can't
conversation.
place everyone in the job that they necessarily want. Where temp comes in, I like to call it flexible workforce, because flexible workforce is about giving flexibility to the individual, but also to the company that they're employed with. Now, they're our employees, so we treat them very, very carefully around that premise. We operate a system or have a accreditation for Staff Sure, which is important to us because Staff Sure is like ISO, but it's recruitment specific. It's specific to our industry. Not everybody has that Staff Sure certification, but we believe in it, so that's why we went down it. It's a cost. But it's very important to us that we're doing exactly the right thing according to the law, and also to our moral responsibility to our candidates and our employees.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, recruitment is a process, but if you don't take care of your process, then you're not going to be able to do the right thing for your clients as well. And that's really important. So from a business point of view, our clients rely on us to get our process right, to understand their needs, to have conversations, deeper, meaningful conversations with them at times. They may be a little more transactional, and we might have to bring them back and say, okay, so look, we know you need 10 people at the moment, but let's think about what you're trying to achieve long term of those 10 people. What's the mix that you're looking for? What's going to be the right fit for your business? And then we would have to go back and work through our process to make sure that we're delivering on the expectation that the client has.
So the process is really just the support mechanism to allow you to connect with people and change their lives.
Change their lives.
Both the client and the recruitment and the company you're recruiting for.
So
right?
we're working in both areas. We're not just only working with the candidates. We're really making sure that our clients are getting what they need for their business, because without their business, we can't put people into work. So the support for the business is just as important as the support for the candidate.
I think COVID has shown us that precarious employment is going right across the board. There's no such thing as permanency anymore. And we've seen that with restructuring, downsizing, whatever you want to call it. Every job is not for a lifetime anymore necessarily. There are lots of things that happen that may jeopardise your employment. So, permanent employment is a terminology rather than anything else. And the stigma around temporary is often wrong because of that. What temporary employment, or what I call flexible employment, means is that the individual has an opportunity to learn new skills, try something different that they may not have considered, and find out whether they like it or not.
What a great way to approach it. And for for somebody looking for a new role. What a great way to actually take control of their future as well.
Yeah. We shouldn't be frightened of it. We shouldn't be frightened of it. In fact, we should be encouraging our young ones to consider trying lots of different jobs while they're at high school or at university.
Love it.
So that they are actually exposed to a wide variety of people and industries that they may not have ever considered. It's certainly something
this is a growth industry, particularly in recessionary times. It's always done well. It's because businesses need to have certainty about their ability to employ people on a permanent basis or a long-term basis. They must be given there's businesses that need change or be able to downsize and upsize very quickly because of seasonality. There's a lot of reasons why flexible workforce works very, very well for companies as well as the individual.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we love about the industry is our opportunity and privilege of actually going in and meeting all these different workplaces. We have both worked on different lines, industrial lines at times.
Wow.
I had my own gumboots at the Tip Top factory.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't unusual for me to be able to, go in and work on the process line. It's about truly understanding what makes New Zealand tick, because 90% of the workers that we deal with are actually keeping New Zealand moving.
Could share a piece of wisdom from you to our viewers. What would you want them to know?
Yeah, look, we were talking a little bit about that before, Monique. Look, I need to take some time out and reassess where I'm at, because you can't fill your cup every day and have it overflowing constantly. And I think when you become tired, then you can't see the wood for the trees. So you do need to take time out. You do need to step away from things for a while and remember what it is that you're trying to achieve, and just remember the people that you're also trying to help.
Another point, with this numbers thing about our industry being numbers focused, the reality is quite different, because recruitment for particularly labour hire or flexible workforce, as I'd like to call it, it's a volume business, so high volume, low margin. 80% of our revenue is wages to our employees, 80%. Then you've got your costs on top of that, and you've got all sorts of things like ACC, holiday pay, all those sorts of things. And that's all about being in an ethical business as well. And that's why we're understaffed, and why we are members of the Recruitment Consulting and Staffing Association, which we have been for years.
Awesome. So your key to success really is about reminding ourselves to look after ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
To lead a heart-led business, but do the right thing. With that, and if you'd like to find out more about the wonderful work that ERG Recruitment and their team are doing, please get in touch, find out more. Here's the link to their website, and here's how you can connect with them in social media. Well, they say that your home is your castle, but for some people, it's a very viable business opportunity. But is there still money in property? And what do you need to know? Thankfully, we have the expert. We have Darrell Smith from Landsmiths in the studio. Welcome to the studio.
Monique.
So good to have you here. Great to have you here. So first of all, Landsmiths, tell me about your business.
We're a general landscaping company. We've been well established, been around a number of years now, and we cover all sorts, top to bottom, in landscaping.
I love it. Question for you though. I know one of the things I've learned from being on camera with you before, we've done some interviews, I learned from you that the more a client waves their arms around, the bigger the bill. Tell me about this, because is there still money in outdoor transformation?
Part of home ownership is investing in your property. You're always spending, whether you're paying the lawnmower man, whether you're rebuilding your fence, whether you're putting up a carport, new driveway, you're always investing. So having a deeper understanding of what options might be available throughout all of those processes, you're investing, and the more you know, the more you're going to be ahead.
So obviously we have had these legislation changes. Less people are buying investment properties so they can flip them, because they literally can't, or the taxes are too much. So I've noticed there are different people going to auctions. There are people who are looking at investment properties, but they're looking at a long-term game. And some people are telling me that investing money into reconfiguring the outdoor area is part of that plan. What are the key things people should be considering if they're looking at redeveloping their outsides to increase the value of their property?
Well, Monique, you may well have heard me use this one before too, and it's not actually about more for your buck, it's actually about better for your buck. Yeah. So, and there's a whole range of products, there's a whole range of things you can do throughout any sort of reno that you're doing outside, makeover. There's so many options, it's such a big subject, really.
What about swimming pools? Do they still have value? Are people still looking for properties with swimming pools, or are they adding them in?
Big percentage of what we do are swimming pool gardens. That's something we've really specialised in. And the options these days are typically more vast than they ever used to be. The type of pools, why you might choose this one over that one, building regulations that have eased in some, in some areas. So yes, people are definitely still investing in swimming pools, spa pools, swim spas, for sure.
So from business owner to business owner, let's talk about business. What for you has been some of the biggest challenges as a business owner, as an entrepreneur that you've experienced in your journey?
Anybody that's successful in business typically works hard. You work a lot of hours. I know you're meant to work smarter and all the rest of that, but you have to be a bit older and be a little bit wiser before you learn those tricks, yes? So isolation for me was a big thing where you don't have the time, the resources, or the connections to know all the other things these days you need to know, whether it be legislation, whether it be the right person to use to do this sort of piece of artwork or this piece of sort of promotion, isolation, reaching out to the right people.
So what have you done to overcome that? Have you focused on building your networks, or what have you specifically done?
In the early days, I did do that. I joined networking groups, and I have to admit I enjoyed, that
Chatting with people.
Yeah, that whole thing. But over recent years, I've run into Catherine from the Engine.
Oh, right. Yes. We love Catherine.
Yeah, we do love Catherine. And she has been an immense help to me, whether it's been in an emergency situation, I need some advice on this. She's always been there at the end of the line, or long-term planning or plotting.
Plotting, I like that. So for you, it's not just about spreading yourself wide with networking as such, but it's more about strategic partnerships. Would that be fair?
Strategic partnerships these days, I think, are immensely important. I guess I've got the advantage. I've been around long enough now. I know lots of people. If I need an answer, I've got a phone number and a contact. I have lots of clients so I can reach out to lots of people, but definitely having those specific companies that I can refer or lean on and know that my client is going to get well looked after and they're going to get the answers they want is really, really important to me.
I love that. I know one of the key things that I've learnt from you is the power of your incredible visionary mind. So you're quite the innovator. I know, there you go.
My God.
I've seen you in action and to see the way that you can look at a backyard and you can basically plot out in your head how that concept is going to look. How important is that visualization and that innovation for you in your journey of working with a client?
Look, I think it's an immensely important. Now I've got to the point where I almost have like mole vision now, right? Serious, right? I can kind of almost look under the ground. You might go, well, what the hell has that got to do with anything? But the truth is, a lot of what you've got to do is got to start under the ground with your foundations, or it's a very costly part of the project, the excavations,
right,
removal off-site and all those things. So being able to kind of have an intimate connection with the whole picture of your backyard, whether it's the ground, it's the fencing, it's the levels, it's the air, electricity supplies, drainage situations, and a good in-depth, of course, after a good in-depth conversation with the clients of how they want to use and live in the space. That makes it all, for me, now come together quite easily.
I love that. So really it's the complete package for you. It's being able to listen and understand what the client needs and then how you're going to articulate that and what that vision's going to look like. That's kind of your process, right?
Yes, along with material selections, colour palettes, planting themes, it's really quite involved.
I was just going to say.
It's a modern garden, right? We all want a lot.
That's right. And I was going to say, it sounds very complex. I'm glad you're the expert.
Yeah.
Finally, because the show is about entrepreneurship and business, if you could speak out to other business owners and share a piece of wisdom or some tips and tricks that you've learnt on your own vast entrepreneurial journey, what's that piece of wisdom you would share? I know it's a good question, right? It's your Oprah moment, Darrell.
It's good questions for it, but that's a fair enough question, and I'm happy enough to share that, and it's pretty clear to me, really, and it's just exactly what we've been speaking about, Monique, and that is the whole reaching out process. Find somebody who knows the stuff that you don't know. The only hard bit is you don't know what you don't know.
True.
Right? So the way I approached it was, I kind of worked from the inside out, and I found somebody that I felt I could connect with, somebody that I believed had similar values to me. And with Catherine from the Engine, for me personally, that has worked a treat.
Oh, I love it, Darrell. Thank you so much. Unsolicited promotion there for Catherine as well. But we agree, she's done some great work, as have you. Darrell, thank you so much. And if you want to reach out to Darrell and learn how he can help you transform your backyard and increase the value of your property, make sure you do. Here's a link to the website. Here's his details. Take a look there. And reach out, start the conversation. Darrell, thank you so much for joining me today. An absolute pleasure.
Monique, thank you.
Well, when it comes to standing out in a competitive market, you cannot beat that personal touch. And here to tell us all about their pathway to success and standing out in their competitive market, we have Jean and Lou from Insiedout Cleaning. Kia ora and welcome to you.
Thank you.
Great to have you both here in the studio. So, Insiedout Cleaning, how did this business begin, Lou?
It began with me. I was in corporate prior to it. And prior to coming to New Zealand in 1973, I was in England. I was a police officer for 15 years and decided that it was time to move on. So I came to New Zealand. In 27 years ago, I got bored with the corporate world and needed a challenge. So the challenge was that I get a dairy.
Of course, yes.
Which was a good challenge. But however, times change and the supermarkets then started to open Saturdays and Sundays. And of course, this impacted on the business.
Of course.
So I decided, okay, what's the next challenge? And one of my customers was a lady who was a lovely lady, and she was a cleaner. And she just said to me one day, why don't you start cleaning, contract cleaning? I know a guy who's looking for cleaners.
Wow.
So that's what I did. And then
hands-on right from the beginning.
Hands-on right from the beginning, working nights, and which didn't bother me, you know. And then later on, we had an opportunity to purchase another business,
right.
And that was 201. And that's when I had to call on Jean to help me because there was no way I was going to be able to handle it all myself.
I bet. And Jean, this must have been a big transition for you because you also have a corporate background. Tell me about moving into being a business owner. How was that for you?
It was great. I was waiting for this to happen, to be quite honest. I was just sort of getting to a point in my business career where I thought, what am I going to do next? And when this opportunity came, I thought I can put all of my study, my management skills into a business of our own. And that's what happened. We actually took on the business and it doubled our business.
That's incredible. That's, I mean, a big risk, huge commitment, but the result of that, of taking that risk, obviously has paid off. And here you are, 27 years later, with a great business name, and you've grown and expanded right across Auckland. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Multiple teams, a lot of logistics, in a competitive market. So what do you think has been the key to success in standing out in that market? I'll start with you, Lou. What do you think's worked for you?
The fact that the client only deals with us is one thing. And I've got to say that a lot of the clients that we've had have been with us for a number of years, and we're actually on first name terms. You know, the fact that they can pick up the phone if there's any problem and talk to me direct or to Jean direct, knowing that the problem will be solved. but also the fact that we have trained staff, and people look for detail, and we want our staff to look for that detail.
I love that. I love that. Now, what about for you, Jean? What do you think has been that thing that's really worked well for you guys?
It is that personal touch. And it's the fact that when that person rings, they're actually talking to the owner of the business. And I immediately say, well, look, I'd like to come out and do the quote for you in person. And when you get out there and you get the rapport with the client, it just feels so good. It just feels so good. And 9 times out of 10, we actually get the job, and they deal with us. The one thing that's important, though, is that it's getting these people all together. It's me sort of getting the gang together and appointing a time with the client and getting out to the client on that time that they specified. It just all works in well.
So it's like one big family. I know it's a family-owned business,
Yes.
husband and wife at the helm.
Yeah.
So it's really, what I'm hearing, aside from that personal touch, is the collaboration, the connectivity, the communication,
Yes.
all of those words. That's really the heart behind what you do as a service. Would that be fair, Lou?
Yeah, we try to treat our staff not as staff but as family. You know, and that way we get the best results from them.
I love that. So, question for you. This is a show for entrepreneurs and business owners. If you could share a piece of wisdom that you've learned over your incredible careers, what would you want other business owners and entrepreneurs to know? I'm going to start with you, Jean. It's a big question.
That is a big question. If they're going to go out and start a business, I think it's important that they make themselves available and focused to the client, because that's the important part. When you ring up and you get a recorded message, or you get left on a line for 20 minutes, you just lose interest. If you're on the end of that phone and you're able to say, well, look, I'll come around, let's make a time, that's the important part. It's that personal touch.
Love that. I love that. And what about for you, Lou?
You do your homework. You understand exactly what your client wants, because every client is not the same. They've all got different needs and wants. And you, if you have to research certain chemicals or anything like that, then you research them to make sure that they're safe to be used.
So relationships and that
Yes.
attention to detail,
Yeah.
that's what's behind Insiedout Cleaning.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you both so much. There's a lot of wisdom in there and so many more stories. I hope we get to hear more of those in the future as well. Now, if you would like to learn more about Insiedout Cleaning, if you want that level of attention to detail to clean up your home or even your office, I assume you do that as well. I'm getting nods here in the studio.
Yes.
Make sure you reach out. Here's their contact details.